All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. We are going to talk about how to handle low-resolution images. The webinar will take a little over 30 minutes, and it will be well worth your time, I'm sure. As a little background, GiveMeHelp.com has been in business over 20 years, and we've really been helping folks in the signage business as well as print business with all kinds of issues, and we'd be glad to help you with any issues that you may have in terms of design, print, laminating, and so forth. To give you an idea of what we're going to talk about today, we really should ask ourselves a very important question. What if you didn't have to be afraid of low-resolution images? And you know what I'm talking about. Customers send images to us that are the size of a business card, and they want to make a mural out of them. I mean, this is just something we face all the time. And it just is just a real pain for us. What if you could enlarge those images, those low-quality images, to very large ones in just seconds? That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to give you some examples of that. I'm going to show you a very simple way to handle these low-resolution images. This is not all a PowerPoint presentation, by the way. We're going to do some live stuff here. If you have a pen and pencil handy, reason why we're doing this webinar is if you'll write down that link down there on the bottom, which is tinyurl.com/corelnuts. You will not believe how hard this guy works to get rid of the pixelating and that sort of thing in his images. I mean, he spends about 14, 15 minutes showing you some techniques that he uses to just on one job. And if you had to spend that amount of time on one single job, I mean, we just wouldn't stay in business. So we need to get past that. We need to understand low-resolution images a little bit as well. Low-resolution images are really a challenge for us. And it's something that we have to understand that our customer just is never going to understand. As much as we can ask them for those high-res images and so forth, we might have a few customers that handle that, but most of them are just going to bring in their camera shots. They're going to, right-click on a Google site and send us an image. I mean, this is what we have to handle on a day-to-day basis. So it is a very difficult thing. The biggest problem we face is that while I'm sure many of us understand that we need to resample and make these images better, most of the programs out there that do this do a fairly decent job, but they end up creating these enormous size files. I mean, we're talking about sometimes gigabyte size files. And that really hurts us. It really hurts us on the design side because it makes our software very slow. And it also hurts us on the print side because our RIP software that we use for printing can be very slow as well. And every time we double the size, we're like quadrupling or double the pixels, we're like quadrupling the size of the file. So this is a very difficult thing. I went out on the internet and found this interesting little page here that has a bad and good on it. And what we're after is clear, unpixelated images, smaller images at full size. We want less design time. This particular person says, oh, well, if you just design at 125 on your monitor, and you print at 125 dpi, you're going to have great images. Yes and no. Really, I think he's wrong, and I'll tell you why. Because really, you need to have the right resolution at full scale. That's the issue. So it's not just a matter of designing at a certain resolution on your monitor. It's a matter of making sure that your image looks good at full scale. So we want to get to that point. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to show you a couple of techniques in Photoshop, because I noticed when folks registered, there were a few Photoshop users. That's fine, Illustrator as well. There were a few of you that were using FlexiSign. That is actually for those of you that don't know what that is, that's used in the sign business quite a bit. It's a design and print software. And we're also going to talk about a third-party tool that I'm going to recommend to you that's going to absolutely solve your issues, and it's going to help you a great deal. So we're going to use several different tools in here to get started with. So I say that's enough PowerPoint stuff. Let's get started with the real world where we're designing things.